Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are watching us from. I'm Azuka OJ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more updates. One error in Professor Soludo's affidavit that could lead to his disqualification. That is the latest. It's no longer news that highly anticipated November 6, 2021 Anambra governorship elections has come and gone with the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, Professor Chike Soludo, emerging the winner. At least according to the results declared by Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. However, a recent development could see the much celebrated victory of the former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, nullified. This is if this report is anything to go by. It's a well-known fact that every politician has political opponents who are out to pull him down. And this can be argued to have become the case of Professor Chike Soludo, who has been dragged to court to seek his disqualification. As obtained from the Guardian newspaper, two individuals identified as Adendo Valentine Egudike Chukwuebuka have approached the Federal High Court in Abuja, praying the court to disqualify the APGA candidate on the ground that the Form EC9, which he submitted to INEC, contained false information. According to the report, the plaintiffs in the suit alleged that Professor Soludo indicated that he was contesting for Agwata constituency 2 seats, whereas he was contesting for the position of a governor. And it was gathered from the report that APGA and Soludo's counsel, Onyeshi Ikpeazu, in his response, argued that an error in an affidavit cannot be a basis to disqualify a candidate from election. The suit, which is now before Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has been scheduled for hearing on November 30, 2021. And following this report, it can be argued that the singular error of indicating a wrong position in Form EC9 could lead to Professor Soludo disqualification from the just concluded 2021 Anambra election, despite emerging the winner according to the results declared by INEC. This is due to the fact that Form EC9 is where a candidate is expected to specify the position he or she is contesting for. As such, whatever a candidate indicates there will be officially adjudged to be the position he or she is contested for. With this in mind, coupled with the politics of taking advantage of error on the part of an opponent, which is gradually becoming a common occurrence in the country, one may not be surprised to see the court rule in favor of the plaintiffs. That's the Nigerian court. Anybody is becoming a judge, and these guys are fond of anything. Recall that in 2019, the Bayelsa State Governor-elect Senator David Leon was disqualified less than 24 hours to his inauguration on the ground that his deputy submitted documents with false information. As such, one may not be wrong to argue that indicating a wrong position in Form EC9 is one error that could lead to the disqualification of Soludo despite having won the election. Sometimes we are in a haste and we make serious mistakes. Why would Soludo not sit down and quietly fill out the forms? Or was it done by one of his aides? Meanwhile, I don't think that is enough to nullify the victory, as at that point in time, there was no election conducted for the Agwata constituency 2. Whatever, but Anambra gubernatorial election, that was what was conducted. The form presented to Soludo to fill was meant for gubernatorial candidates at that point in time as well. The Soludo that won the election is still the same Soludo everyone knows, whose posters were everywhere. And both INEC observed as among the contestants for Anambra gubernatorial elections. Yes, people have been disqualified for such, but this is a mere mistake and not deliberate. And this is not like some key information where contestants would attempt to falsify certain things because they have to, or in order to clinch a position. This is just a mere mistake. Those who are asking the court to disqualify him should desist, even though they have the right to go to court on that. The fact is that Anambra State will naturally want Soludo governorship at this moment. But this should serve as a lesson anyway for future purposes. This mistake should not be made at all. Still on Anambra election litigation, Anambra people will hate you more. Ex-governorship aspirant wants Andy Oba. And Senator Andy Oba has been advised not to challenge the outcome of Anambra election governorship in court. According to Romy Okoli, a former governorship aspirant, Oba will not achieve anything by embarking on litigation against Charles Soludo. Okoli maintained that the Senator Oba heading to court would only make the people of Anambra State to hate him the more. Andy Oba, the All Progressive Congress candidate, APC, the Anambra governorship election, has been advised to accept the result of the just concluded polls. The call was made by Romy Okoli, a former All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA governorship aspirant in the state, during an interview on Wednesday, November 17 in Oka. I recall that Oba had rejected the election outcome where Charles Soludo was declared winner and vowed to challenge it in court. Soludo's victory has been described as profound and widely accepted by Anambra people and lovers of democracy. And while noting that Oba will not achieve anything by embarking on litigation against Soludo, Okoli urged the governorship candidate to drop his plans to contest the result. He said doing that will instead make the people of Anambra to hate him the more, because Anambra people have spoken in unison. I congratulate the winner and call for restitution, reconciliation, reconstruction, and rebuilding of Anambra that everyone will be proud of, he said. Okoli urged the other contestants in the poll to support Mr. Soludo in the interest of peace and progress of Anambra State. According to him, there is much work to do, hence the governor-elect would not need distractions. Dragging the governor-elect to court by anyone will be counterproductive and indeed a distraction. This is according to Okoli, a former chieftain, a former contestant of the APGA. The election aside, Andy Oba should have known his status in a society, Anambra State in particular. There are people and political figures, entities that may stand no chance to clinch positions except by trick or fraud. If Nigeria is a place where things work, even opinion polls should have given people like Andy Oba a signal. Only evil and wicked people impose themselves on those who doesn't want them by force. Perhaps Andy Oba would be cherished by Anambra people in the future. I don't know. Perhaps then he would have to have redeemed his image. Already we have his story. Everything is there in the records. He kidnapped a former governor and did all sorts of things in Anambra. Right now he should accept the fact and focus on his family. I agree with the former contestant that carrying on with a court process to obtain Soludo's victory will further damage the reputation, the image of Andy Oba, which has already been battered. And I want to remind Andy Oba that the Anambra State is not for sale. Yes, you don't buy Anambra State. It's about the will of the people. Does the people want you? You don't just coerce people like what was done in Imo State, force people to yourself, and you rule them by force. Meanwhile, they didn't elect you. Dr. Akunyili for burial. Millions of naira in bounty, not enough, as killers are still at large. Dr. Akunyili is said to be buried on the 25th day of November, which is some days from now. That's 2021. And will be committed to Mother Earth. But those responsible for the untimely demise are yet to be apprehended. And for information purposes, Dr. Chike Akunyili was married to the late Professor Dr. Dora Akunyili. She was once director of the general of the NAFDAC, and also served as the Minister of Information later. Until her death, she was exemplary in all ramifications. So for her husband, Dr. Chike, to be murdered in a broad daylight at Afompo in Idemili local government area of Anambra State by individuals tagged on non-government is worrisome. Dr. Chike, who was murdered in a gruesome manner, died alongside his driver and a police escort. He became one of the prominent people who lost their life due to insecurity. As a result of his killing, the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, placed a 20 million naira bounty on the killers. We all commended the act aimed at flushing out the murderers, but it has not really worked as we expected. Just about a week to Dr. Chike's burial, and they are still not brought to justice. The daughter had earlier voiced her sadness and the fact that she does not expect justice to her dad's death. This sad development that the killers are still at large is totally disappointing. And the killers need to be arrested and brought to justice, though it will not bring Dr. Chike back. He's already dead. But it will at least bring some comfort to the family. Agolo Town lost one of their illustrious sons to insecurity in Nigeria and Anambra in particular at that point in time, and this is a huge loss. They too deserve closure in knowing that his killers are brought to justice, and he will be buried, like we said, about 8 days from now. The hope of his killers being caught and remains in the heart of his family and people. Well, it is pertinent to say that Dr. Akunyili went with the frenzy of Anambra State election 2021. Like we said, the killers are at large, and there are insinuations that the cause of his death might have to do with the election. Though the killers are at large, there are insinuations that the cause of his death might have to do with the election. It was alleged in some corners that the unwanted party and person who has made up their mind to impose themselves on Anambra people against their wishes would do anything to win elections. And in the process, people have lost their lives. The professor would have taken bullet meant for his son, according to some rumors. We don't even know the truth. The state government's alleged external forces are planning to hijack Anambra and have unsettled the security of the state, and they have tried and they couldn't achieve it. But why should people be killed for another person's quest for power and position? That is very bad. Dr. Akunyili is gone, and we say, may his soul rest in peace. May God grant the family the fortitude to bear this loss. It's a huge loss indeed. Rest in peace, Dr. Akunyili. And this is where we round up for today. Please, viewers, add your comment on the comment section of this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Click on the bell icon to get our updates anytime it drops. Azuka OJ, bye for now.